You're embarrassed by a childhood that you never created. You're embarrassed by mistakes or decisions that you made in your younger years, swearing to yourself that you should have known better. Question: how would you have known better? Welcome back to my channel. My name is Janelle. I'm a registered social worker and psychotherapist. Let's get started. Being abandoned and rejected in childhood can have lasting effects into adulthood. One particular effect is loneliness. No matter how successful someone becomes or how much money they make, there is this deep loneliness inside of them. And it can be covered up with daily life distractions, but that's only temporarily. And it can just take one minor situation to set someone back. You start to think about past mistakes or decisions that you've made that you wouldn't necessarily make in your present day. Instead of looking at yourself with compassion and softness, you look at yourself with shame and animosity. You're embarrassed by a childhood that you never created. You're embarrassed by mistakes or decisions that you made in your younger years, swearing to yourself that you should have known better. Question: how would you have known better? I'm not giving you a hallway pass for abusing others. What I'm saying is, if you never experienced love, emotional safety, tenderness, kindness, belonging, or even acknowledgement, how would you know what safety in another person looks like? Maybe you started to read books or watch TikTok videos or YouTube videos to figure yourself out, because sometimes you find it hard to look at yourself in a positive way. The reason being is because you were always looked at in a negative light. You were treated like a burden. Everything that you did growing up was a problem. You essentially grew up feeling like there was something wrong with you. You learned how to take care of yourself, and you did the best that you could. Someone said to me the other day that they chose to be alone and independent as a kid. No, you didn't. They were emotionally abandoned as a child, and they had no other choice but to raise themselves. The fact that they can still tell themselves that they chose to be alone and independent as a child says a lot. I can see how some men and women end up in abusive relationships, whether it's emotional, psychological, or physical. It can be hard to shake away the old narrative that no one loves me and I'm undeserving. One thing I want to stress is that when you start to do the work of healing on yourself, you have to see the truth. What I mean is, it was never your fault that you were rejected as a child. It was never your fault that you had unloving parents and family members. The truth is that you were never flawed. Your environment made you feel like you were flawed. This can be a hard fact to acknowledge, because once you see the truth, it doesn't always help. It can make people feel worse and spiral into negative self-defeating behaviors. One statement I've often heard is, "Why me?" I can't answer that. But I understand that acknowledging the truth exposes that you may not have been loved as a kid. That knowledge is very lonely, isolating, and hurtful. Who wants to hear that their parents or their family members didn't know how to love them? But no matter how hard and lonely the truth is, self-compassion will help you get through the tough times. Meaning, it will allow you to develop tenderness, kindness, and emotional safety within yourself in order to silence the inner critic. You are essentially learning how to parent yourself. Instead of feeling sorry for yourself and blaming yourself, you'll start to understand yourself. You'll understand why it's so hard to be vulnerable, or why it's so hard to let others in, or why you engage in perfectionism, or why your inner critic is so strong. Perhaps you are already letting people in, but one wrong move from the other person can trigger you back into feeling like that abandoned, rejected, and shamed child. Being able to look at that child and tell them how loved they are is a game changer. But if you look at that child with shame and rejection, no matter how successful you become, you'll never be able to escape the old narrative because you still don't see the truth. When you don't see the truth, you remain trapped. Your inner child is still searching for love and acceptance from others. As an adult, you now have to give yourself that love and acceptance. I'm not going to tell you to forgive your inner child because there's nothing to forgive. What I will say is to love your inner child, nurture your inner child the way you deserve to be nurtured. This means kindness, love, respect, emotional safety, boundaries, and play. I can't answer the why me question, but what I can say is that you were meant to be here for a reason. Perhaps you were meant to break generational trauma, or teach others how they can survive and thrive and have an amazing life. Whatever your purpose is, you have a story to tell. Create your own narrative. Don't let shame, embarrassment, or rejection, or even abandonment stop you from creating a life that is worth living. Loneliness is real, and so are all of the other emotions that I mentioned. Doing the work doesn't mean that things will be perfect, and you'll never feel despair or loneliness ever again. Doing the work does mean that you'll be prepared to handle emotions and unpredictable situations without shutting down or spiraling out of control. Even if you shut down, it might be for an hour instead of 24 hours or 48 hours. Remember, you're not looking for perfection, you're looking to create balance in order to manage the various emotions that contribute to your inner child feeling alone. If you made it to the end of my video, thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share your thoughts and feelings below in the comment section. Bye for now.